Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
You got your headphones adjusted over there? You okay?
I do. I feel...
Just make sure that you can hear what's going on. Because it's kind of part of the show for us to be able to hear. Sometimes if I can't hear, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me.
This is the way. Well, I really hate to start off the show with a kind of a quasi sort of rant, but at least if I do rants first, I can move on, and the rest of the show can be positive. Doesn't that make sense, sort of, in a weird PK?
Well, I had a rant the other day, so it's your turn.
Your rant may be the same as this rant may be one of your rants, because you may have had more than one. The whole
I have more than one.
Working in the news department, I know you might have a rant or two that's extra. Good morning, it's BK on the air. By the way, we'll get the introductions out of the way. I'm glad you're out there listening using the TuneIn app, or you're listening on the later podcast that it turns into. However you're listening, or you're listening the old-fashioned way on the radio dial, like on AM and FM. That's great that you're listening, or two tin cans and a string, which is our AM signal anyway. So actually, the 2 tin cans is more powerful than the AM signal. I keep forgetting about that.
Sometimes.
Is it still the blow jar that we hooked up to out at this transmitter? That's what giving our power?
Don't mock it. Don't mock it. It doesn't like it. It doesn't like it.
We don't want another power loss, do we?
Don't make it angry. You won't like it when it's angry.
Yeah, don't make it mad. Artificial intelligence, don't make it mad, because we've learned that talk about crossing the sci-fi and the science fiction fact streams like we do sometimes. How science fiction and fact cross the stream sometimes. AI is its own. We can actually sort of carry on a quasi conversation with our iPhone and Siri. If you think about it, if you ask her questions and talk to her, and just ask her like regular questions.
Making my house more and more of a smart house with replacing switches and outlets. I'm talking to my Alexa a whole lot more, and
she's talking back, right?
Well, I actually turned off the acknowledgement to where it just makes a little beep, because I was getting tired of her saying, "Okay, I'll do that."
Let's try it right now. As a matter of fact, let me ask Siri a question, see if I can get it to work right here. We're live. This is live radio, live on the air. Okay. Siri, do you love me? Actually, there's our answer.
Yeah,
right
there we go. It's like the magic 8-ball.
Siri, do you love me?
I enjoy spending quality time with you.
Oh,
yeah, but she doesn't really love me, though. But that's nice that she does say that, though, right?
You do the British accent, too. I love mine. I've got mine set to the Agent Carter.
That's what I call it. I'm like, it's the Agent Carter setting. It sounds just like Haley Atwell.
I have to. I have to have
talking to me like
and I love when it tries to pronounce certain street names with the British accent, putting it like how...
I did that the other day.
Yeah. You are now on Ponce de Leon Avenue.
She's reading it. Or I was in Smyrna the other day, and she's like, the city of Smyrna. Smeared all over the place.
You are now on Hardine Bridge Road. That's it. Hardin.
But that's okay, because she gives you a little chuckle, right, driving down the road when she talks to you.
I think it's endearing. I love my British Siri voice.
We have a lot of to talk about today. We got a lot of things.
You want to get your rant in first?
Yeah, I'm going to put the rant in right now, and it mirrors your rant. Would you please take a chill pill when it comes to watching shows on Disney Plus, especially like WandaVision? Come on. Now, I've posted an article. Alan posted this, too, on his social media. I posted an article from Forbes magazine. Someone wrote an article about, hey, just relax and try to watch a television show that has an unfolding story and not get. I feel so sorry for people, the instant gratification crowd. I feel so sorry for them right now, because they like instant gratification all the time. They like to watch a nice wrapped up 1.5 hour, 2 hour movie, and action packed, and everything packed into one package. A TV show. Back in the old, there's going to be 2 times where I'm going to take you back in time today. Later on is about girls on a beach, but that's a different subject. I'll get to that later. But think back to the old days when we used to watch television, and we've hit on this before many times. TV shows in the old days. We had to watch TV shows that would come out maybe once a week and had a season, and then we'd have to wait a whole week for the next episode to find out what was going to happen next, how the story was going to progress. And then at the season finale, we had to wait months before it premiered the next time to find out what that cliffhanger meant about. Two big ones I remember were Who Shot JR on Dallas. That was a huge, giant one back in the day. It was a drama show called Dallas, basically a nighttime soap about an oil baron family in Dallas. If you're young, you never heard of it. They did make a newer show on TNT Dallas, brought it back in the late 90s or 2000s, which was, I understand, pretty successful. And then even Star Trek The Next Generation had a big cliffhanger once about the Borg when Picard was a Borg at the end of the big
Oh, my God, get out of my head. I was just going to mention, by binging, I went back and rewatched The Next Generation, and I totally forgot that when he got introduced as Locutus of Borg,
right,
and it was like, to be continued.
Everyone's like, oh,
you had to wait till the fall.
Yeah, to find out what happened.
4 or 5 months later.
Yeah. We had to be patient back then.
But guess what? For that 4 or 5 months, what were you and your buddies all talking about? Oh, my God, what happened to...
We'd speculate.
Well, yeah, you would speculate. And you know what? That's what the whole WandaVision... You should be enjoying the conversation between episodes.
But no, this show is too slow. It's too slow.
Takes too long for things to happen.
It takes too long for things to happen. I'm not happy. I don't like waiting on shows. Please. I want to know exactly. Please tell me. Tell me everything. Well, fine. Wait till the whole show's over and then watch the whole thing and binge watch it then.
If you're that kind of a person, then just don't watch it until it's done.
And I don't think it's the fact that kids and people don't get the whole sitcom thing, because you told me, you're like, us older folks, we get the old sitcoms the way they were. I think kids are going to watch this and not understand what's going on. No, even the adults don't get it that are my age, that are going, what's going on with this WandaVision? It's ridiculous and stupid. I don't understand. I'm like, patience, grasshopper. It will all be revealed. It's Marvel Studios. When have they kind of ever really let you down in a big way? Never. They've never let you down in a big way.
I mentioned this on my show. We talk about adding to my pet peeve. The people who aren't even paying attention to the style of what's being told in episode after episode.
Right.
I've seen people on social media, and I almost wanted to reach out. I'm like, there's no point. Anytime you have to resort to a canned laugh track, you're really phoning it in.
You're kidding. Someone actually said that?
Yes.
Wow.
Like, I couldn't watch this the minute I heard the laugh track. Who uses laugh tracks anymore? I'm like, really?
I feel like Dr. Evil. You really just don't get it.
Don't get it.
You're missing the entire point there. My goodness.
And that's why I said there's no point in even responding. You know what?
You can't even talk to that type of person.
They're done. They're so far lost.
Yeah.
there is no saving. There's no lifeline.
They're in the whirlpool. They're going under for the third time. No, I think it's great. I've actually heard now that I have not seen the episode from last night, but you have seen it. I don't understand how you saw it, because you and I are pretty busy on Friday nights. You up late running the board here with the games going on, and I figured you might not have been able to see it. I'm usually on Friday nights, on a long drive, out of state and coming back. So when I get back home on Friday nights, I get the sack so I can be here on Saturday morning to do the show, because I get in at about 2 a.m. But I'm going to watch it today and see what's going on. I do love the show and how it's unfolded. I think it's completely different. I think you and I talked about how much it's able to stretch Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen's acting chops. They're having a great time doing it, you can tell. Mm-hmm. And the addition of Marcy from Thor and the FBI agent from Ant-Man is fantastic. They're bringing these characters and tying it all in. It's a universe. It's the Marvel MCU. So speaking on there, we're going to have more fun in the Golden Age of TV when we return.
I'm here at Paul Masson Chateau in California. Almost every night here there's a wine tasting party, and one of the favorites is Paul Masson Chablis. It's light and crisp. It's delicious. The wine you drink the most should be the best. And they take special care with it here because they know Chablis is America's most popular wine. Paul Masson Chablis. I recommend it. Paul Masson will sell no wine before it's time.
Never fear, Smith is here.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. Pee-wee's Playhouse ran from 1986 to to 90 for a total of 45 episodes. Inspired by classic TV kids shows, comedian Paul Reubens developed its predecessor, The Pee Wee Herman Show, in 1980. Its success eventually caught the attention of HBO, who filmed a special live performance in 1981. Warner Brothers then hired Reubens to work up a script for a Pee Wee movie. In 1985, as Tim Burton's very first feature film, Pee-wee's Big Adventure became a surprise hit. With star power hot off the heels of the successful film, CBS approached Reubens to write, direct, and produce a Saturday morning TV show, giving him creative control and a whopping $350,000 per episode budget. His aim was to make Pee-wee's character an ethical, although childlike, role model while keeping the show fast-paced, colorful, and nostalgic. Pee-wee's Playhouse embraced diversity just as Reubens had intended. He said it showed kids it's okay to be different and to be curious and creative. Notable cast members included Phil Hartman as Captain Carl, Lynn Stewart as Miss Yvonne, William H. Marshall as the King of Cartoons, and the Lawrence Fishburne as Cowboy Curtis. Paul Reubens decided to keep his real name under wraps with the intention of making people think Pee-wee was an actual person. He stayed in character publicly, and the show's credits list Pee Wee Herman as himself. By the end of its run, Pee-wee's Playhouse had earned 15 Emmys. Captain Kangaroo himself, Bob Keeshan, is quoted as saying, "With the exception of the Muppets, you can't find such creativity anywhere on TV." This is Pat McCormick with your Retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. You can also find me on YouTube and Facebook at Golden Rage of TV and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1. And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Pat, for that trip into the Golden Rage of TV. You know, you get really big accolades, and I would be proud as punch if Captain Kangaroo were to actually publicly say that my show was entertaining. Now, Alan, I don't know whether you ever heard that, but that's the first time I've ever heard. That's the things you learn listening to Pat's segments. I never knew that Captain Kangaroo, which, you know, you and I watched as kids, remember Captain? He came out and said, you can't get a better mix of entertainment than the Pee-wee's Playhouse on Saturdays. It was a great TV show. Now, that's some accolades from Captain Kangaroo, if you ask me. And I don't want any ping pong balls while I'm in the studio from the Moose or whatever. So.
I forgot about the ping pong balls that would drop.
I'm a big Paul Reubens fan, Pee-wee fan. I've always liked the character, liked him. I thought he was funny. The second movie,
I'm not sure about what movies I'm going to go see.
Pee-wee's Big Top Pee-wee was not as funny as the first film. In fact, it was terrible compared to the first film. But it was a different director. Tim Burton wasn't involved in it or anything. So, but I thought Pee-wee's Big Adventure is a great Tim Burton movie, but it's a great Pee-wee movie. It's a great movie. I laugh every time I watch it. And he's just a funny guy. I remember back when he was the first thing I saw Paul Reubens was a Cheech and Chong film. And Pee-wee was an insane, kind of asylum patient that did something to him, and he was in this asylum. And he still talked like this. He's like, "I'm sorry, I stole the money. I'm sorry, I stole the money." But he wasn't playing Pee-wee in it. That's just the first thing I ever saw him in. So, reminiscing about Paul Reubens and Pee-wee Herman, and guy needs to stay out of theaters. I tell you, I remember that too. Remember all the things? Remember back in the old days that haunted people, things of people that are kind of forgotten about now. Mm-hmm. Like Rob Lowe. Remember the Rob Lowe controversy in Atlanta when he was on the tape with the ladies from the beauty shop, which is actually pretty close to us down here on Canton Road in Marietta. I think the place has since went through a name change since then. So a lot of controversies in the 80s back then in the 90s.
What I love, my kids, when they were little, one of the movies, because there's those movies you watch with your kids that you want to make sure that they're kid-friendly.
I don't know anything about that, but I'll take your word for it.
The first Spy Kids movie, how they the main villain was sort of a parody of Pee-wee Herman because he had a kid's show, and he talked like that, and he kind of looked like, like Pee-wee, but obviously a little different than Pee-wee. But I thought it was kind of funny that they used the persona of Pee-wee as the typical adult kids
I've never seen Spy Kids. I understand. Isn't Ricardo Montalban in it as their grandfather in a wheelchair? Yeah, I heard about that. I heard he was.
I liked them all up until, the Spy Kids 3D. You realize they were going for the. They were trying to be, everybody was trying to do some 3D.
Well, they had a great director behind those movies. It was Robert Rodriguez, right? Yes. That directed them. Yeah, he's a great director.
I think for what it is, the first two are really, really good. I still enjoy them.
Kind of like Drew Barrymore, though, and now with Emma Watson as Hermione. and the girl from Spy Kids, I feel guilty seeing pictures of them now when they're older, and they're like, "Wow, that's."
Gotta be honest, I haven't really
into
looked
the quite
for any.
beautiful lady. I feel kind of because I see Drew Barrymore, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, she's Gertie in E.T. and in Firestarter." I remember when she was a kid. I feel odd thinking that they're attractive, knowing it's like I've known you since you were 3 years old. That's terrible.
You mentioned Firestarter. I just caught word. I think is it a Netflix movie? They're going to remake Firestarter.
Are they? Let's hope and pray that's better than the film was, because I thought the film was really bad. It wasn't that great. So,
a lot of great practical effects, though.
Oh yeah, back for its day. 770-386-1450 is our number. You can give us a call.
People
if you want.
On fire.
BK on there. Hey, somebody's doing that right now and calling me. It's BK on there. Hey, who's this?
Hey, this is Nick Philibert. I listen to you guys every Saturday morning.
You do? You're the one guy that listens. That's great. That's good to hear.
I am the one guy. All right, so I was calling on Spy Kids. I was talking about this with a friend the other day, and you cannot deny that Spy Kids 3D was ahead of its time. Like, it kind of had this, like, Ready Player One vibe to it of, like...
Oh, yeah. No,
yeah,
I think it was definitely ahead of its time.
3D.
But where the first two movies, I think, still had the side for adults to enjoy while watching with their kids, I didn't feel that with Spy Kids 3D. I was like, this is great for the 5 and 6 year old, but I'm not having fun.
Yeah. Sylvester Stallone with an Emmy-winning performance.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, Nick, how old are you?
I am 28.
You're 28. Now, do you remember the guy who played their grandfather in Spy Kids, the guy in the wheelchair?
Yes.
Okay, that. Are you familiar with who he is? Ricardo Montalban? Or
I don't know what else he played. I didn't know.
Well, you know what?
I know him from Spy Kids.
Let's Alan and I tell him who he's played. He's a very legendary actor. He's no longer with us. He played one of the best sci-fi villains in science fiction history. He played a character named Khan in Star Trek. And if you've never seen Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, yeah, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. What reboot? What are you talking about? Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, and the old television show Star Trek. He played a great villain. If you ever get a chance to catch Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, watch it, because he is fantastic in it.
It's awesome.
Villain.
Sweet. I will do it.
Check
you guys
it out.
Have a great morning.
All right, bye-bye.
You know, Ricardo Montalban, talking about sort of the kids tie-in, I told you about this. My kids loved Kim Possible growing up, which was on the Disney Channel on cable.
Yeah.
Prior to Disney Plus, and Kim Possible was a spy, and she would go on these missions, and she was a high school kid, and it was great. All the girls, it was a girl spy, and she had a geeky friend who had the technology and all this. But all the bad guys would kind of rotate, and one of them was voiced over by Ricardo Montalban.
Oh, great.
And his
great
name
voice.
was Senor because he was the senior. And his son was Senor Senior Junior. So it was like, it's Senior and Senior Junior.
Funny. And he probably did a great voice for the character, right?
It was great.
He is.
You could tell he was having fun in a recording studio playing a
He's another
cartoon
one of those
villain.
actors that no matter what it was, if he was in it, at least when he was on the screen, it was great. That's kind of like I equate that to Kenneth Branagh in a way. Now, he's great in a lot of things, but everything he usually is in, even the stinker Wild Wild West, the best thing about it is Kenneth Branagh as the villain.
Oh, absolutely.
He just chews
There
up
wasn't
the
anything
scenes.
else.
He's great in it. He's really good. Well, Ricardo Montalban is that way too. Since we're talking about actors and things like that, let's do this story. We did a story last week, if you remember, about Tom Holland talking about how he was cast in Spider-Man and how he found out when he was first cast in the first Spider-Man movie. That information just kind of came out in an interview with him here lately. Well, I got another story here from Josh Weiss at sci-fi.com. As we all know, Tom Holland has hyped his Spider-Man 3 as, this is what he says about it, the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever. Now, that's coming from Tom. He's in it, so he's going to say that. Fans pretty much knew the next Spider-Man movie was going to be an absolute fire when Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx were reportedly asked to return as Dr. Octopus and Electro, respectively, while we're all still eagerly awaiting for Disney and Sony to announce whether or not Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are coming back to play their versions of Peter Parker, which we've heard it could be. Tom Holland is out there hyping up the project's massive scope and all but confirming that all-out multi-universe madness that we can expect from the proceedings. Quote, it's the most, and I can just hear him talk. It's the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever made, the latest actor to portray the friendly neighborhood web-slinger recently told Variety. I've never seen a standalone superhero movie quite like it, and I'm just, again, that lucky little, well, I'll say S.H. something else that he says here, lucky little you-know-what, who happens to be Spider-Man in it. He's just so excited.
A lucky little snit?
To be, or fit. Which is fit.
Fit.
Yeah.
Careful.
He
Barbara's
is
listening.
so excited to be Spider-Man still, even after all this time. He's still flying high, or swinging high, let's say that. Now, thanks to Doctor Strange's presence in the script by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, Spidey 3 can tap into all sorts of parallel dimensions that contain alternate universes of the titular hero. Nothing is off the table, really. With Tony Stark now dead following the events of Avengers Endgame, the planet's Sorcerer Supreme, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, masterfully, by the way, is serving as a mentor figure for young Peter Parker. Now, since Tony Stark is gone. I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I've learned my lesson, the spoiler-prone Holland said last year. He's promising no spoilers now. But I'm so excited. I'm going to read this now, and I can't wait. That's what he said last year, even before they started filming. Now, the production on the threequel, they're calling it, began in November of 2020 in Atlanta, here in Georgia, just south of us. Yep. But took a hiatus for Christmas and New Year's. We got a lot more shooting to do, Holland revealed during his chat with Variety, adding that only 7 weeks of shooting have taken place so far. We stopped for the Christmas break, he says, and when we're starting again, I'm just as excited as everyone else to see it, let alone be a part of it. I think he would be the way I'd be on a superhero set. I mean, never mind the fact that I'd be playing a superhero. If I had an extra part in the film, I would be going nuts.
There is no doubt in my mind.
John Watts is back in the director's chair, closing out the trilogy as he began with Spider-Man Homecoming in 2017. A lot of the casts are returning, including Marissa Tomei are among the reoccurring cast members. Spider-Man 3, it doesn't have an official title yet, swings into theaters on Friday, December 17th of this year. The release date is still firm. Hopefully that date sticks like some of Peter Parker's homemade webbing.
Aunt May.
Good old Marissa Tomei. Did you ever see her in The Wrestler with?
I did not see that one.
With Mickey Rourke.
No, but I heard that's really good.
Fantastic movie. And she's 50 plus, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm 50 plus. She looks a lot better than we do. We can there.
Tonight, an ABC premiere presentation.
Take her out.
The adventure continues.
You didn't expect to find me.
The deadliest criminal in the galaxy is on the loose.
He wants to kill me.
And the battle lines are drawn.
There he is.
William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, and Ricardo Montalban.
Fire!
Star Trek II.
The bait is stubborn. Kill him.
The Wrath of Khan, next.
Good taste. What is good taste? Let me put it this way. If you've got it, you don't have to shout it. And you certainly don't show it like this. In coffee, good taste is a subtle thing. A blend of rich flavor and long experience. And once you've found it, nothing else will do. Maxwell House ground coffee. Always good to the last drop.
And now, back to the guy who secretly thinks J.J. Abrams did the best job with any Star Trek movie, but he'll never admit it. It's BK on the air.
Oh, who's the person that says that management here at the station don't care about us and doesn't treat us royally with the best things in life possible? I went into the bathroom on the break, and we've got candied watermelon hand soap in there.
Oh, well, if that's all it took, I could have gotten you that for Christmas.
Oh, but... Oh, why didn't you? I love that stuff.
I didn't know
great.
That.
Man, that's fantastic.
You're peeling back a layer. I didn't know that was back there.
Candied watermelon. The two words just go together. Kind of like candied bacon.
No, that goes together a lot better.
Did you know we discovered candied bacon at one of the bridal expos over at the Brown Conference Center here locally. We went to it and just go check it out. You know, we didn't know before we got married. And someone at one of the kiosks had candied bacon to sample. The very next year, we had that at our wedding. That was one of the foods that we offered at our wedding. It was candied bacon.
Good stuff.
Some people would say that's all they remembered from the wedding was the candy baking. But hey, just so it was something good. No, I tease, I joke. The best thing I remember from that wedding was Mrs. BK when she rounded the corner and came out in that getup, the wedding dress she was in. I just almost passed out. I'm like, man, that was great. Number one, my collar was too tight. I couldn't breathe. That was one problem. I was going to pass out. So. But it was a great day. But I remember having that candied bacon, and it was delicious.
Always good stuff.
Well, it's time that we flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, and the bizarre.
Guess what? I've got the first news.
Chicken butt.
Chicken butt? Yeah, chicken legs.
I always said that.
Guess
what? Chicken butt. Guess what? Chicken butt. Okay.
All right, from UPI, a worker with the New York's Metropolitan Transportation Authority is being applauded for climbing into a sidewalk vent near a subway station to find an heirloom ring dropped by a pedestrian.
Well, they went above and beyond and below.
Certainly.
Didn't they?
And below. The MTA said Sean Fallon, a maintenance of way infrastructure supervisor, rushed into action last week when he heard a woman had dropped a ring given to her by her grandmother and had dropped into a vent near the Grand Central Terminal. Fallon climbed into the vent and was able to find the ring and return it to the grateful woman. The MTA said the woman reached out to the organization to praise Fallon's quick and effective response. The organization dubbed Fallon the hero of the week and thanked him for going above and beyond for that resident.
I watched, how some of those random videos will pop up on your Facebook feed of, mistakes at work or weird things caught on camera. Well, I saw one this week, that kind of reminds me of that. A guy was proposing to his girl of his dreams, I guess, on a waterfall or whatever out on the rocks. And when he got down on his knee, proposed to her, gave her the ring. She took the ring, dropped it in the waterfall, and it was gone forever.
Oh, is that a pretense? No. Is that a portent of your marriage?
Or is that saying? Or is that saying? Oh, challenge! We need to move on and keep going with this. Which is it? You're right. I got the next news. From UPI, a Washington State casino broke 2 Guinness World Records when it celebrated the opening of its new parking garage with a race between 2 cars. Pretty fascinating, huh?
Through the parking garage?
Yeah. Oh, they
were the Vatican?
Oh, they were made out of 91% cake.
Oh,
that's the twist here. That's the news flash.
Huh.
That's the twist. The Elani Casino, located near La Center, held a race between 2 replica Formula One cars, each one consisting of a cake body mounted on an aluminum chassis. The Cowlitz Indian tribe, which owns the casino, said each car was 91% edible to ensure that they met Guinness World Record qualifications that required the cars to be 90% edible in order to set the record for the fastest edible vehicle and longest distance covered by an edible vehicle.
Fastest edible vehicle.
Right. And a lot of hungry people, you better move that vehicle pretty quick. Formula One driver Michael Andretti drove the car that broke the records. The vehicle was a replica of a car he drove during a championship season. The other car was a replica of a car once driven by his father, Mario Andretti.
Mario! Hey, it's a Mario!
Andretti's cake car reached a top speed of 17.8 miles an hour and traveled the distance of 349.81 feet to break the records. Now, the cake was donated to Share Vancouver, a nonprofit specializing in food access.
Better hope that icing's on tight.
Yeah.
You don't want it whipping off. Although we were
talking
Spy Hunter last week. How about instead of a smoke screen, you're doing a icing screen?
A cake screen. Throw pieces of cake. Well, if they're hungry, villains will stop and try to eat it. You're like,
it kind of both blocks your vision and can make the road slick.
Throwing cake at us. Let's eat some. It's good. Yeah, red velvet.
Well, those guys got they got everything. They got lasers, they got guns, and now they got cake
I'm
bombs.
not stopping to eat that. I'm on a villain diet.
Boss said we had to lose weight. We were getting too slow. I've got the next news.
Yeah. Boss took out 200 pounds. He killed Vito. There's 200 gone right there.
Made the challenge a lot easier.
That's right.
One less person in the pool.
Yeah.
A New York State attorney who bought a building to expand his practice discovered a hidden attic that contained photographs and photography-related items from over 100 years earlier.
I saw this. This is very cool.
This is amazing. David Whitecomb said he and a friend were examining the building he purchased in Geneva when they discovered the structure had an attic that he wasn't told about when he bought the property. Whitcomb said that he located the access panel and looked into the attic, discovering offering was filled with photographs, frames, glass negatives, and other materials that appeared to be quite old. He said the items were believed to belong to a J.E. Hale, a photographer who was active in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Hale's name is on many of the items, including pieces of mail found in the attic. Whitcomb and Hale's belongings in the attic include several photos of Susan B. Anthony, including a print of her official portrait from the Library of Congress, which was, in fact, taken by Hale.
Wow. See, I can never find anything cool on my property. We talk about that. People finding things on their property, you know.
No, usually I find problems.
That you have to fix, right?
Yeah.
I want to find that time capsule box with the singing frog in it. That would be so fun.
Hello, my baby.
To take the frog and try it. I don't want to be like the guy in the cartoon, though. I got the next news.
Hello, my ragtime girl.
Digging in the backyard and find like a whole sack of like gold bricks or something.
Check,
because
please.
money would be bad. Oh, you're crossing into Spaceballs. Yeah, I get it.
Finally.
And it's John Hurt in the scene.
Yep.
That was great. From UPI, a dinosaur footprint. Not again. That science chick on the TV's back on there. She's on there every Saturday we're on the air. I got to turn the TV off. She's distracting. She's
only for you because you're looking that direction.
/science host. A dinosaur footprint found by a 4-year-old girl walking with her family at a Welsh beach is now headed to a museum where it will be displayed alongside a plaque identifying its discoverer. Richard Wilder said his family was walking on January the 23rd in Bendrix Bay Beach in South Wales when his 4-year-old daughter Lily called his attention to a fossilized rock. Wilder said the rock contained what the family believed to be a dinosaur footprint. The family's Facebook post with photos of the rock came to the attention of the National Museum Wales, which received the fossil from the bench. The museum said experts have not identified the species of dinosaur that made the footprint. Sound like it's definite footprint, though. But is believed to have been about 2.5 feet tall. Now, there's a photo of this online. If you just search for that dinosaur found on the beach by a girl, you'll see it. The museum said the fossil will be put on display soon, along with the plaque identifying Lily as the person who discovered it. So that's kind of neat. Wouldn't that be neat to be walking around here in Cartersville? Because, we have the Tellus Museum here locally, which is a huge museum. Wouldn't it be great to be walking around this area of Cartersville, you and I, and we find like a Velociraptor talon or something like that? That'd be kind of cool. And they
keep changing the name. It used to be Brontosaurus.
Yeah.
Then it was Brachiosaurus. Then it went to Apatosaurus. And now apparently it's back to Brontosaurus.
Yeah. So the Flintstones were right.
But they were walking around North Georgia. Well, wherever North Georgia was when North Georgia was where it was.
Shifted a little bit.
The whole Pangea thing,
Yeah. Well, I heard if you believe in that sort of thing, yeah, you're right.
Science?
I mean,
some of it.
Was flat,
Some of it we just ignore. I've got the last news. Try to fit this in before the break.
Let science explain to me where my one sock goes in the dryer. That's what I want to know.
Police in Los Angeles said 6 people were arrested after altering the Hollywood sign to read Holly Boob in what the alleged perpetrator said was a breast cancer awareness message.
Oh, so that's okay then.
I knew a girl named Holly. The Los Angeles Police Department said the 5 men and 1 woman climbed the hills surrounding the sign and threw a tarp bearing a giant letter B over the W and added a dash to the final D to make it look like a second B.
Wow.
The 6 people who claimed the stunt was intended to raise breast cancer awareness were released after being charged with misdemeanor trespassing. There was no vandalism because the signs, in fact, weren't damaged.
Wow. And that's hard to get to. That sounds pretty guarded. It's
Holly Boob.
Holly Boob.
Give it up. Podcast Magazine presents the Hot 50 Countdown.
Hi, it's Rob Actis, host of the podcast magazine Hot 50 Countdown. Join me as I count them down from 50 to number 1, the top 50 podcasts in the land as determined by you, the podcast fans. From true crime, society and culture, self-help, health and fitness, science, and every podcast category in between. The Hot 50 Countdown is here.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Montgomery with a word to mothers about 2 new cereals from Quaker.
I'm Quake, the earthquake power cereal made with rice.
I'm Quisp, the Quaky energy cereal made with corn.
Shh, excuse me. Quaker has reinforced Quisp and Quake with B-complex vitamins and iron. These 2 sweet cereals not only taste good, but they're good for kids, too. All right, fellas, it's all yours.
I love Liz.
I love him more than you do.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I feel like I've got cotton in my mouth or something. I'm talking really slow because I didn't get really a lot of sleep last night, you know? It's one of those late nights.
Was that true?
You too. What?
Is that true?
What true? Cotton in my mouth, or did I not sleep last night?
You did not sleep last night.
They're both true. I didn't. Well, I slept about 4 hours, which for me is probably the minimum of what I want to get. I can function fairly well on 4 hours of sleep. Hey, did you catch the game last night? There was an action-packed game here on WBHF last night. We got the on-the-spot reporter Duke Nukem reported on it last night. Here it is, right here.
Yeah, you know, we had a few odd man rushes there in the first period, which was not good for us, but I mean, everyone had their nerves going and everything like that, and then, which we were glad to just keep them to one and everything like that, and then we went back after the period into the locker room, just talked about what we need to fix and everything like that, stick to the game plan, get back on it and everything like that, so just paid off, stick to the game plan, you know, stiffen up defense and everything like that. No pinches, everything like that.
You moving on to the semifinals. Your uncle, Stu, played here a while back, I think 20 years ago with Alexandria. Did you get any advice from him coming in here to the tournament?
Yeah, I got a nice long text from him this morning saying don't let the atmosphere, get your nerves shaken up and everything like that. Just play your game, which is what I try to do out here and everything like that. So, yeah, definitely help from him and everything like that.
Moving on to the semifinals, you get Stillwater. Your initial thoughts on the big matchup?
It should be a great game. I can't wait to play them. I know they're doing good. Only one loss on the season, I believe, and everything like that.
So, yeah, the good sports there reporting on the scene there. Don't tell me that I don't do sports reports on here, because
that was great.
It was a good sport report.
I like when you cover that. I love when you cover it and everything like that.
Everything like that. I love it when it will do that. And I'm glad that they won. That's really cool. This week we actually did lose a very prolific actor, and I have the story right here. You and I are big friends of this guy.
Friends?
Well, I'd love to be friends with him, but we're big fans of the guy.
Yes.
Christopher Plummer, the actor known for his role in The Sound of Music and other critically acclaimed films, has died. He was 91 years old. There's another actor, kind of like Cloris Leachman, that was in their 90s. You know, I mean, I hope I reach. We've said it before. I hope I reach my 90s. I really. Yeah. I'd like to go a lot longer as possible and healthy as I can, and be cognizant at whatever age. But 91 is a long run. His family confirmed a deadline that he died in his Connecticut home with his wife, Elaine Taylor, by his side. Plummer notably starred in the 1965 musical The Sound of Music, playing Captain Von Trapp to Julie Andrews' Maria Von Trapp. The film won 5 Academy Awards the year after its release, including Best Picture. Yeah, Alan, please tell me you have seen The Sound of Music.
Yes.
Well, you kind of hesitated there for a second.
How could you ask that?
Okay, good. Because sometimes there's few people that we know that when we ask them, have you seen a very
If you go back, the first 2 movies my mom and dad ever bought on VHS when they became the VCR in-house.
Can I guess the second one?
Sure.
Okay. First one, Sound of Music, right?
Correct.
And Patton. Because remember, I think you said your dad did
Those
that.
are the first 2. Is my mom picked her movie, my dad picked his movie.
2 good ones to start with.
And they were both double cassettes because they were so long.
They were so long, that's right. But they're you don't feel the length of these films because they're done so well.
No.
The Canada native, not a lot of people know that Christopher Plummer was Canadian. He remained active in his career in the decades after his most well-known role from Sound of Music. He went on to earn an Oscar, becoming the oldest actor ever to win at the awards show, and a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor after starring in the 2011 film Beginners. He then received another nod in the category for the Academy Awards in 2017's All the Money in the World. He later appeared in 2019's Knives Out alongside
He was great.
That included Chris Evans, Daniel Craig, and Ana de Armas. The latter 2 are going to be in the upcoming Bond movie coming up, by the way. Ana de Armas is the Bond chick in this one this year. Plummer's work extended to television and stage as well, with wins at the Tony Awards for lead actor, musical in 1974 for Cyrano, and lead actor in a play in 1997 for Barrymore. I hear that is really good, where he portrays John Barrymore on stage just talking and drinking and stuff. He racked up an Emmy Award, like he often did. Barrymore, not Richard
Barrymore,
not Plummer. He racked up an Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Limited Series in 1977 for Arthur Haley's The Money Changers. An outstanding voiceover performance in 1994 for The New Adventures of Madeline. As for his personal life, he was married to the late Tammy Grimes from 1956 to 1960 and Patricia Lewis from 1962 to 67. He wed Taylor 77 in 1970. He is the father. I didn't know this. He is the father of actress Amanda Plummer, who is 63, whom he shared with Grimes. You may remember Amanda Plummer in a couple of her roles. Do you remember the Max von Sydow when he played the devil in the movie, the Stephen King film Needful Things?
Never watched it.
Did you ever see that? Oh,
no.
It's a great film. Amanda Plummer's in it, and she gives a great performance. Now, a lot of people know him for a lot of those roles that they talked about, but I've got three that I want to mention to everybody. We could talk about his career and his roles. I mean, he was great in Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour. He was great and he played a heavy really well. But he also
I bet we're going to share one that people may not know.
Probably will, and I can't believe they didn't mention this one in the narrative here. The three.
Well, he was heavily made up.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah. But he acted through that makeup, though.
Oh.
Just like all the actors that you remember that. You notice how they would always choose very talented, strong actors to play the apes in Planet of the Apes, the original movies, because they had to act through that makeup, and they did. Roddy McDowall, Maurice Evans, Claude Akins, all those people were very, very good actors. Aside from Von Trapp, which he was fantastic as in The Sound of Music, check out a movie called Murder by Decree, directed by Bob Clark. Christopher Plummer and James Mason both play Sherlock Holmes and Watson, respectively. And it's a movie where it's kind of a what-if movie. It's like, what if Sherlock Holmes were after Jack the Ripper? That's what the whole kind of the premise of the film is, and it all ties into the royal family of England. So it's a very well-made movie, Murder by Decree, with Christopher Plummer. Also, he did a television movie with Gregory Peck called The Crimson and the Black. It's a World War II film about the German occupation of Italy and how the Nazis, had to deal with the Vatican in Rome, because they did not want to cross that line to the Vatican. They didn't want to attack it. They didn't want to take it over because that would have been a huge public relations. Believe it or not, the Germans were sometimes worried about PR and having people not as least people against them as they could get. Well, Christopher Plummer plays one of the Nazi commanders in it, and he is vile and evil and just incredibly great in that role in that movie called The Crimson and the Black. It's on DVD. If you ever get a chance to watch it or it's streaming, watch it. And Gregory Peck is great as the Monsignor, too. And, of course, he played probably one of the most proper speaking non-barbaric Klingons that I've ever seen in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, as General Chang. He wasn't the barbaric growling and spitting Klingon. He was a very reserved, well-spoken Klingon in Star Trek VI, which made him stand out.
It was great.
Even more, by the way. And they even gave him an eye patch that wasn't just attached to his eye, but there were 3 bolts holding it in. That was his suggestion, too, by the way. And he goes, and they gave him a wig. They gave him a horrible Klingon hair wig to wear. And he goes, what if I just don't wear a wig? And they're like, well, Klingons aren't bald. He goes, well, can I be the first Klingon to be bald? And they're like, okay, yeah, sure, it works. So it worked great.
Well.
So, General Chang in Star Trek VI, Christopher Plummer.
A great Star Trek movie, though. Technically, the capstone in the original cast movies. I know William Shatner was there for the bridge into the Next Generation movies, but
exactly. They even
signed
signed their name at the end of this one like it was the last one.
It was fantastic. And the greatest thing, they built on his strengths as a Shakespearean actor. They even had him quoting lines from Shakespeare.
Exactly, yeah.
And I love how he goes, you won't truly appreciate Shakespeare until you hear him in the original Klingon.
What a pompous thing to say.
He's because they recognize it's so good, but it can't possibly come from humans, so we're making it ours.
And we know he was a human, and he was from Earth.
Right.
But unless you hear Shakespeare written in the original Klingon, you really haven't heard it before. So, yeah. So I've got a clip from him. I really don't have enough time to do it here at the top of the hour. We're creeping up to the top of the hour. But I'm going to play a clip after we come back, after the Channel Star Wars report. I have a clip of him talking on an interview show where he talks about director, you're familiar with director David Fincher, who directed Alien 3, Fight Club, and a lot of other films. Apparently, Christopher Plummer was a big fan of his. He directed him in a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but he'll say it in the interview. He directed him. And Christopher Plummer has high kept him in very high regard as a director, believe it or not. So he talks a little bit about David Fincher. This interview was just from a few years ago. And he also talks about William Shatner, because Christopher Plummer, people may not know this, but Christopher Plummer and Shatner both attended, college together and knew each other, and they were in the same drama class back in Canada. And didn't see each other for years until he showed back up in Star Trek VI, and Shatner was Captain Kirk in it and everything. So
how funny.
He talks about him, too, and I think they've remained friends over the years. But he talks a little bit about him. So, yeah, Christopher Plummer, he's been in a lot of things. He played a really good heavy. He wasn't really the heavy, but he was kind of the antagonist guy. Did you ever see Somewhere in Time with Christopher Reeve and Jane Seymour?
Never did.
It's a movie where Christopher Reeve becomes enamored about a woman from the past that he saw a photo of, and he falls in love with her. Well, he becomes so wrapped up in it. I think he's a journalist or a writer or something in the film. I can't remember because I haven't seen it in a while. But he winds up going back in time and meeting her when she's young, when she's like in her same age he is, and it's Jane Seymour, and who wouldn't fall in love with her, you know? So the whole movie's about that, and Christopher Plummer plays her, and she's an actress in the past. He's a playwright, I think, is the movie. Christopher Plummer plays her manager, handler, person in the past, and he wants everyone to stay away from her because he wants her. He doesn't want her to get sidetracked with falling in love, because that would affect her acting and her moving on to stardom, and he wants to keep her focused, you know. And Christopher Reeve threatens that. He comes into her life and starts to, show interest in her and wants to go out with her and kisses her. And Christopher Plummer doesn't like it. He does everything he can to sabotage the relationship and keep them apart. So Christopher Plummer, fantastic actor. As the show progresses today and we come back, you can call us and tell us if you had a favorite Christopher Plummer role, because he was a legendary actor and he's got a big body of work. Go check him out. And check out Murder by Decree, The Crimson and the Black, and Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. There's 3 other roles that he plays that weren't mentioned in the article. You know what's funny is when a classic actor is in a Star Trek film or something, and they print their obituary, or they talk about the person's career and stuff, they don't mention Star Trek and stuff like that. That just makes me mad, because that was a pretty big popular role for him. Why don't they? Science fiction's still not getting any love and respect. Oh, they did nominate Sid Gordon Weaver for Academy Award. That was great for Aliens. To speak on there, we'll be back.
We'll return after these announcements.
We're lost. My fault, but you... No!
Neither!
Food? Yes, crunchy food. C-3POs.
New Kellogg's C-3POs. Twin rings phased together for a crunchy new force at breakfast.
Yeah, the force is with us.
A delicious part of this nutritious breakfast.
Okay.
More? Of course. How much? Oh, my.
C-3POs. A new force at breakfast.
In a Ford Model T, you can depend on just about everything, except the weather. In a Ford Pinto, you can make your own weather. Pinto's price is so low you can afford a sunroof, air conditioning, a rear window defroster to make the weather inside your Pinto as dependable as your Pinto. The economical little Pinto. Base sticker price $24.42, excluding dealer prep, destination charges, title, and taxes. At your local Ford dealer.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Extra Weekend Edition. Star Wars Then, Star Wars Now, Star Wars Forever. Bringing you the latest from across the Star Wars universe, I'm your host, Mike Mann.
Hello there.
This week in an interview with Eddie Izzard, Ewan McGregor confirmed that filming for the Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi series will indeed begin in the late spring, having been pushed back from the original plans for March. McGregor also clarified that they will be filming in Los Angeles after rumors that the series would be created in Boston, England. Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi will take place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith in the Star Wars timeline, with Hayden Christensen signed on to reprise his role as the menacing Darth Vader. A release date has yet to be announced.
General Kenobi.
The other day, Hal Hickel, animation director at ILM, shared a deleted still of Darth Vader from Rogue One, A Star Wars Story on Twitter. In this new shot, we see the Dark Lord watching an overly large display of a fiery planet or a thermal image of one. while aboard what appears to be his command ship as an Imperial officer awaits orders behind him. Additionally, he confirmed that the scene led to a deleted conversation between Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin. Will fans ever see this scene? Not likely. As Hickel stated, it didn't have visual effects or anything completed. Make some time to check this scene out on Twitter at Hal Hickel.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
And in Mandalorian news, Jon Favreau has officially stated that The Mandalorian Season 3 will connect with Disney's sequel trilogy, dispelling rumors about a sequel reboot at the same time. The sequel trilogy takes place 30 years after The Mandalorian, so however Favreau plans to pull this off will be undoubtedly amazing. Additionally, Star Wars Extra would like to congratulate The Mandalorian for the recent Golden Globe nomination for Best Television Drama for the 78th Golden Globe Awards.
This is the way.
That's all the time we have this week. Be sure to check out the Star Wars Extra YouTube page. Give us a like and subscribe for the latest news. And also a behind-the-scenes look into our documentary in production, Building Boba Fett. An in-depth look and interview with those involved in the creation of the elusive bounty hunter.
I have spoken.
Tune back in next week for all the latest and greatest in Star Warsing. For Star Wars Extra, I'm Mike Mann. And now back to our favorite Mando, BK on the air.
It's BK on the air. Thank you, Mike, for that Channel Star Wars report. You know, even we talked about earlier about how people can't wait on WandaVision to unfold before them. They got a horrible attention deficit disorder or something. They can't, I can't watch it. It's taking too long. Well, you know, they're having to do it for The Mandalorian because even if they binge watch these shows, they'll get to the last episode and they've got to wait until next season until the new shows come out. So there's still a wait. The Mandalorian's not going to premiere again until next year, right? Or is it later this year?
It's next year.
It is next year, so they're going to have
because they're working on the Boba Fett story, chapter of Boba Fett.
And they've got that to look
the Book of Fett.
So. Book of Fett. Boba has a library.
One thing about Mike Mann, what he talked about with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and of course we had already heard that Hayden Christensen was likely going to come back.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people are already losing their heads over that. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it an open mind because
me too.
Liam Neeson looked like he couldn't act out of a wet paper bag thanks to George Lucas's direction. So I'm going to give Hayden Christensen a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
And we know something was wrong there because we knew Liam Neeson is a fine actor.
He's fantastic.
It's funny that we should say that because sometimes actors want and need direction. Even legendary actors like this clip right here. I've got an interview here from a few years back. We're talking about how Christopher Plummer passed away recently, and we're big fans of his. But here he is on an interview show, I think it was from 2011, talking about director David Fincher.
First of all, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah.
Hugely successful series.
Books, yes.
Yeah.
God, yes.
What was the movie? Are you done your parts?
No, I've got to go back to Sweden in May and finish playing I play the patriarch of the family. It's a terrific role, and I'm working for that wonderful director, David Fincher, right? Who's surely going to win for The Social Network.
Yeah. Is this first time? Have you met him before this project
No,
came
I
up?
never had, no, but I find him absolutely extraordinary as a director. He's just wonderful, and I love that movie, particularly because when I saw it, I wasn't aware that it had been directed at all. And that's surely the highest compliment you can give a director.
Do you find that because you have the history that you have and you have the career that you've had, that some directors don't direct you the way that you'd want to be, and they just have you come out and do your thing?
Yeah, most people have you come out and do your thing, and sometimes you're dying for help, but then obviously they're not going to give it to you. So you have to learn how to direct yourself, and that was a long time ago. You have to. And there are very few David Finchers in the world, you know. You're going to be like, he's wonderful. He does too many takes, but he's wonderful.
So long, farewell, I'll be just saying goodnight. I hate to go and leave this pretty sight.
Goodbye.